Hey guys, what's poppin'? Jacques Slade back with another unboxing, and today I have a shoe that I'm going to make a very, very bold statement about. This package was sent to me, but I already know what's in the box, and that's why I'm pontificating, so to speak, here at the beginning. This sneaker is one that I will say helped change the sneaker world. Now, I know that's a very bold thing to say, but the shoe, the pair of shoes that is inside this box set forth, I would say, like a chain of events that help change the sneaker culture forever. It went from something that nobody really knew about and that really didn't talk about much to something that became an obsession. It became a passion for people. And this shoe, I feel, helped usher in that movement. Now, I know that's a very bold thing to say, and there's a ton of shoes out there that you could be thinking of that did something like that, but I really feel like this is the one that really made that movement happen. And you know, you guys can tell me what you think at the end of the unboxing. Feel free to go into the comments and leave your thoughts and leave your suggestions of whether this is the shoe that made that big of a difference. But I personally feel that this shoe is the one that did that. So without further ado, let's hop right into the box and take a look and see what we can find here. Now, this shoe isn't a new shoe. Obviously, if it helped change the sneaker culture, it was something that was introduced, you know, decades ago, to be honest. But in that time, since then, the sneaker culture has changed, and this shoe has always been around. This shoe always resonates with people. It always can be seen, it's always relevant, and it's always releasing. It releases a couple of times a year and people still buy it. It's still hot. It's still something that people want to get their hands on. So hopefully you've actually guessed what this shoe is by now, and you either already agree with me or you don't agree with me and you're already down in the comments saying, nah, son, nah. But if not, let's take a look and open up the box here. And there you go. So if you know sneakers, you see the box, you already know what this is. Exactly, it's an Air Jordan 1. Now, many out there will say, no, the Air Jordan 1 didn't change things. The Air Jordan 1 didn't change things. Well, I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. The Air Jordan 1 changed everything when it came to sneakers. So let's take a look inside and see what we have here. So the general Nike box. Now, this isn't the original Air Jordan 1. This is an updated version of the Air Jordan 1, which is really why I like this version so much more, because it shows a sign of the times. It's showing that things are changing, but you can still keep the essence and the dopeness of what was there. So let's jump right into here and see, and there you go. Look at that. This is the Flyknit Air Jordan 1. Just an absolutely beautiful shoe. So this is obviously the royal version after the regular royal version of the shoe. Let me take both of these out of the box here. And just look at that. I mean, this is a gorgeous shoe. Nike really, or I should say Jordan, really did their thing when it came to this shoe. They updated it in, I think, all of the right ways to make sure that you don't lose the Jordan 1. Like, I'm not a purist like a lot of sneakerheads are. There's a lot of sneakerheads out there that are purists and only want exactly what launched years ago. They don't want any changes. They want it to be that same exact sneaker. And I get that train of thought, but I'm not one of those people. So to see them update this with new materials and to make it Flyknit so that it's not leather, for some people that's a big deal. Some people hate against that, but I'm not one of those people that hate against that. I think what they've done is they've tried to stay true to the original, but they also know that they need to update the shoe, make it lighter, make it more breathable, make it more wearable. And that's exactly what you're getting with this shoe here. So let's jump right into the details. First of all, first major detail, the shoe was designed by a guy named Bruce Kilgore. If you're not familiar with Bruce Kilgore, he is a legend in the sneaker industry and has done a ton of things. And you've probably worn a pair of shoes that he's designed or a pair of shoes based off a shoe that he's designed and you just didn't know it. He worked for Nike and he worked for a few other companies. So just know that Bruce Kilgore is a name you should know. One of the major shoes he designed was the Air Force One. And he designed this shoe, the Air Jordan 1. Tinker Hatfield may get a lot of the credit when it comes to the Jordan line, but Bruce Kilgore is the one that introduced this shoe, the Air Jordan 1. Now, let's take a look at the details, because that's really where this shoe really shines, in my opinion. It's where Jordan really took the time to not just throw Flyknit on the shoe, but look at the details of the regular Jordan 1 and then incorporate those into the Flyknit version of the shoe so it still stays true. So, for instance, with the regular Air Jordan 1, they have that sort of collar that goes around the ankle. Now, Jordan Brand could have been really easy and just put blue here and not really did anything else. But in addition to adding the blue or the royal here around here, they actually made it a thicker version of the Flyknit. So if you've seen the LeBron, they have that battle knit on the LeBron 15. So this one isn't battle knit per se, but you can feel the thickness of it here. So it adds that extra, almost like an extra layer, just like you see on the Air Jordan 1 Royal, that extra layer that adds that extra little bit of oomph to the shoe. And so they brought that back here, and then they obviously still have the Air Jordan 1 Wings logo there, which obviously makes a big difference. And then they did the same thing with the heel. Again, that heel piece is an extra piece on the leather version of the shoe. And for this version, they added some extra Flyknit. They made it a little thicker so it actually stands up and raises above, so it's just not a smooth surface. So this is not like an like a Flyknit trainer where it's just one surface and there's no difference, and there's no difference in durability on the Flyknit. It's just one area. This one thickens it up and makes it really more like the regular Air Jordan 1. You see they kept the leather tag there on the heel, and then they also kept the leather Nike swoosh. Now on most of the Air Jordan 1s, there's a couple of exceptions, but generally they have a smooth leather here on the mid panel, and they reproduce that here on the mid panel as well. You can see it's almost netted, it's wider, it's definitely more breathable, but if you look beneath it, you can see that they actually have some royal beneath it to kind of shine through, which is a nice touch, and which is not something that you can generally do with the leather version of the shoe. And then here on the eyelets, at the bottom eyelets of the shoe, you can see that they did something similar where they thickened it up a little bit, because on the Air Jordan 1, it's another piece of leather that's there, and they reproduced that sort of leather feel or that leather look with a thicker version of Flyknit. And then for the toe, they kept it all smooth. They obviously have the black, and then they have the navy, the black around the toe cap, and then the toe here with the navy, royal here as well. Then the outsole is obviously exactly the same. Can't change the outsole. That's going to be the same. Can't change the outsole to Flyknit. But there are some updates that I think they can do to the outsole, or really the insole, really, I guess is where my complaint is. Now for the tongue on the Air Jordan 1, let's pull these inserts out. The tongue on the normal Air Jordan 1 is nylon, and they've obviously switched that out to Flyknit as well. But instead of just making it Flyknit, they've actually made it an elastic Flyknit, so it's actually stretchy, so the tongue has some stretch to it, and it remains a lot more, obviously it's more breathable now since it's not nylon and that it's actually a textile. Then a really cool touch that they did to these that I haven't really paid attention to, but now that I see it, it really makes sense, is on the reverse of the tongue. They have a leather tongue tag here, and then the reverse of it, they have a spool of thread, and it's connected to the 1985, which is when the Jordan 1 actually released, which I think is a very nice touch. It's kind of like a throwback from the past to the future and kind of connecting the two through the thread of time. That was super magical way to say that. I don't know if that's what they were thinking, but just what popped into my head. Anyway, let's take a look at the liner on the inside. So the liner on the inside is leather, and it does feel like a premium soft leather. So if you had those shattered backboards, you know what that soft leather feel like. They've done the same thing here, and maybe that's why there's a price upgrade on these, and these are $180 instead of $160. I know the Flyknit causes an upgrade as well, but this feels really, really great. Then on the other side, on the Jordans, you know that they have the date on the inside with the size. So this one also has that, which is my size in 11, but then it has 1985 2017-X XC. I don't know what the XC stands for, but obviously the 1985 for the year the shoe was launched. 2017, obviously the year that the Flyknit version of the shoe was introduced, and it all kind of plays together. Something they also did with these is that they blacked out the insoles. Usually there's a pop of color on the insoles. It's either white or it's red or something like that on the insole, but this one is all black, which actually looks pretty cool. It's definitely an upgrade. I would say these are definitely an upgrade to the Air Jordan 1 line. At least that's in my opinion. And the reason I spoke earlier and I said this shoe changed the game is because this is what a lot of people that are in love with sneakers now, this is the first shoe that they fell in love with. Now, whether or not the Jordan 1 was actually banned is a different story and something for an entirely different video. But the shoe did capture the imagination of a generation of people that started to love sneakers. And that's why I think the shoe still stands today. It is a shoe that it's one of the shoes that you really can't go wrong with. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, and it remains a favorite of mine, and I think will always remain a favorite of mine when it comes to the Jordan line. So with that being said, you guys, I am Jacques Slade. Hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review. It really felt like a really detailed review of the Air Jordan 1 Flyknit, but it really feels like a different shoe, even though it's the same shoe. It feels different and the same at the same time, and I really appreciate that. I feel like when I wear these, I'm not wearing just a regular Jordan 1. I'm wearing something just a little bit different that's going to catch people's eye and that people will definitely notice. So with that being said, again, I'm Jacques Slade. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I appreciate you. Make sure you stay tuned because I have some really cool stuff coming up in the next couple of days that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. With that being said, I'll see you soon. Peace.